introduce you to Pat and to Joe, who are partners in Sunshine Foods. Pat and Joe opened their first Sunshine Foods takeaway in Castle Gregory in 2004. In 2006 they opened 2 more outlets in Dingle and Killarney. They now have 20 employees. Problems developed between the 2 partners and Pat went to their solicitor to have the partnership dissolved. Their solicitor, Lenny, suggested mediation. Joe is currently in negotiation to buy another cafe in a prime location. However, he has not told Pat about his plan, as he maintains Pat worries a lot and he did not want him to become stressed and then knock the idea. Pat heard about Joe's plan and is furious with him for going behind his back. Pat has concerns about the future of his business relationship with Joe. Joe has pulled out of a number of business deals without good reason and keeps giving Pat nonsensical excuses. Pat wonders how he could trust a man like this. Pat has a range of other issues as well, such as Joe not pulling his weight in the business. Pat has developed health issues as a result of what he considers to be this work stress. Joe is shocked at this bombshell that Pat wants to dissolve their partnership, as Joe recognises how much he needs Pat in order to survive in business. However, Joe maintains Pat is always hard on the staff, and this is a big issue for Joe. Pat has also become more distant with Joe lately, and recently Pat had an unusually strong outburst when he had to go and turn off the alarm as Joe had been drinking and could not do this himself. Pat and Joe's solicitor, Lenny, spoke to both of them. Lenny recognised that their differences may not be beyond repair. He suggests that the problem may best be dealt with through a mediation process. Joe jumped at this opportunity and eventually Pat, very reluctantly, agreed to try mediation as well. This film clip does not show you all the stages of a mediation, but it demonstrates the importance of getting to the underlying interests of parties who are in conflict with each other. Getting to their underlying interests is the most effective way to resolve conflict successfully and sustainably. The underlying interests of parties in conflict can be compared to the parts of an iceberg that are seen here under the water level. What is above the water level is what we can see, and this is the apparent conflict. This is the conflict that plays out and is visible when people shout at each other, or, in fact, when they do not talk to each other at all. This is the conflict that is visible when people make demands of each other, such as, "I want this, you cannot have that, he better apologise or else." These demands are called positions. It is when a conflict is at the positional level that deadlock may occur, and resolution may be difficult and not sustainable. We can resolve conflict by looking at what is going underneath the water and asking the conflict parties what their real underlying interests and concerns are. We can ask them what are their needs, what are their fears, what is really going on for them in this conflict. These are all the things that people may not voice to each other while they are in conflict. In fact, these underlying interests may not even be known at a conscious level by the parties themselves. So this demonstration, mediation, will illustrate the importance of looking for the underlying interests in order to bring about understanding between the parties in conflict and in order to effect a resolution of the issues that are presented above the water level. I have already met with Pat and with Joe separately. They have both signed the agreement to mediate document. They have also agreed ground rules for working with each other at the joint meeting. They are now convening in a room to start the joint mediation session. They have not talked about any of their issues with each other prior to the session, and they are both very, very angry.
I'm understanding from both of you that some issues have come to the fore. And I'm also aware this must be a particularly difficult time for both of you. Could I just ask you, first of all, how easy is it for you to be here? Can I start with you first, Joe? How easy is it for you to be here now, sitting in the room?
Easier than meeting you the first time. I suppose I didn't know what I was getting into when I met you for the pre-mediation.
Okay.
Now, well, we meet each other often enough, but I suppose we haven't. It's been frosty enough business-like communication in the last while, so it's a bit. That's grand, yeah.
Okay.
Grand, yeah.
Just a little bit uneasy, but grand.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Pat? How is it for you to be sitting here now in the room with Joe at this mediation?
It's okay. Like we have known each other a long time, so nothing different. But I just don't feel like I can kind of deal with him anymore, really.
Okay. So can I start at the place where this conflict or these issues between you, the concerns between you, became open to both of you? I understanding that you went to a solicitor and that it is the solicitor who recommended the mediation. So can you tell me about that, Pat?
About going to the solicitor?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm happy with how the business is going and everything's going fine, but...
What the hell are you doing going to the solicitor then?
Well, if you just let me finish now. If you just let me finish.
Seriously. What the hell are we doing here, sitting in front of someone else when...
No. If you just let me finish.
All right.
Okay, can I just say at this stage that it's really important that each of you allow the other person time to speak. And don't worry if you're getting annoyed, either of you, because I'll give you plenty of space to talk about that later, okay? And to come in, I'll give you all the time that you need to state your views. But what I'm picking up now is that you went to the solicitor, Pat. There were things you weren't happy with, and for you, Joe, you're pretty annoyed. Okay. Okay. So I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay. So tell me, what was it that, just to talk not necessarily about the issues for the moment, Pat, but what was it that suggested to you that going to a solicitor might be a good option?
Well, I decided to go to the solicitor myself to, get out of this partnership and find out how to do it.
Okay. Okay. And for you, Joe, your response to Pat having gone to a solicitor, how did that impact on you?
How do you think it did impact on me?
Okay, tell me.
Tell you, it was like in a car crash. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I know he was off and things haven't been great, but it's wrong that something can go from being relatively fine to being absolute.
Well, when you go behind my back, what do you expect?
Behind your back, what?
Yeah, well, you're trying to cut the deal with the place in Tralee with Tom O'Connor, and I didn't even hear a word about it. I hear it from my wife, who meets Tom O'Connor's wife, and tells me that you're trying to buy this place in Tralee, and I haven't heard a thing about it.
Okay, so for both of you...
Do you think I'm an idiot,
Can I just ask you to hold a moment, Pat? So for both of you, you've been in positions whereby each of you were doing something that the other person didn't know about. Have I got that correct?
Yeah, but the reason why I went to... Look, Pat's knocking all ideas in the head at the moment, very early stage, okay? And I tried to put something together in Tralee before with a different cafe.
No, I tried to put it together.
Okay.
And then it fell through.
You were asking me to let you finish up.
Can I just hold you both just for a moment, okay? What I want to do is just hear about both of you have accused each other of doing something that neither of you were happy with, okay? I'd like to just stay with that.
Well, I mean, we're meant to be in a partnership.
Okay.
Which is, open and communicating with each other and, sharing ideas and what we're doing and everything. So to hear that a deal has been going on at such an advanced stage from my wife, who meets the person who's selling the place, his wife, out some night, I mean, how can I trust him anymore?
Pat has talked about his loss of trust in Joe. I really want both parties to hear what each has to say about this loss of trust in each other. I don't want Joe or Pat to talk about their issues at this stage, as I want to keep the discussion at a more personal level, in order to provide them both with the space to discuss their underlying concerns and interests, and to discuss how their conflict with each other has impacted on both of them.
It's always something I took as a given, I think. Pat's was a dependable guy who I could turn to when it hit the fan. And when it's somebody who's that person in your life who turns around and makes it hit the fan, how do you think it'll be, you know?
Okay, so pretty let down.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can I just, for a moment, and I know you want to get into the issues, but I will bring you there. Just for the moment, can I ask you, how long have you known each other? When did you first meet?
We met in school, you know, we met in primary school really.
In primary school?
Yep.
Okay, so you were quite young.
Yeah.
Okay, and were you friends then, or did the friendship develop later, or?
We wouldn't have been Uber friends, but no, we were good. We got on well, you know.
Okay.
Wouldn't have been whatever best friends forever thing, but we got on well. You know, we used to at lunchtimes. My grandmother's house was near Pat's parents' house. At lunchtime, he would go home to lunch, and I go up to my grandmother's. So even though we were coming from different sort of backgrounds, we used to walk that thing together every day. And I suppose we got to know each other a bit better that way.
Okay.
You know, what was the time for?
Okay, you always had time for it.
Yeah.
Okay, what were the kind of things that you had in common?
I'm not sure, we did a bit of swimming and chairlifts, going to the swimming pool, and
Didn't like teachers.
You didn't
Common
like
enemies are always
going to
good.
school,
Okay.
usual things, yeah.
Okay. And what were the things you liked about each other or admired in each other?
Well, I suppose he did, you know, he stuck up for me a couple of times in school. I was getting a bit of a rough time, and, you know, he'd always kind of put a, you know, either put a good word in or stand up for me. And all his brothers were very big, so that kind of helped.
This is with other kids then?
Yeah, with other people in the school. So
okay.
yeah, I suppose he was kind of a. Yeah, it was. We weren't amazingly close or anything, but it was. Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, it was good.
So you felt protected?
Yeah.
Okay. And for you, what was the thing, Joe, that stood out for you in this friendship?
I suppose, no, this isn't taking a swipe at you now or anything, but Pat would have been considered a bit of a nerd in school. But my parents always raised me that you'd be. I think you'd accept that as well. But my parents always raised me that, you know, treat everyone on your own relationship with them and not what everybody decides that they are. And I suppose I got to know Pat a bit better as himself when we'd be walking up to lunch and that sort of way. And maybe a soft spot for him. And I could, as I said, even back then I had the street smarts, and I could get him out of a bind if someone was coming at him.
Okay, you're smiling, Pat.
Yeah, I mean it was good, but yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And then you moved on through secondary school. Were you in the secondary school together, or
for as long as I was there, anyway. Yeah.
okay? How long was that you were both in secondary school together?
Well, Joe packed it in early enough, so.
Just in my junior cert, and that was it then. Yeah.
So you left then?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you came together in a partnership?
I felt there was a good opportunity when the last chipper that was there closed down about 2002, that I could set up the business, but I didn't want to have to face the health and safety, everything that was involved in it. As soon as I started looking into it, was madness. So I said, I need somebody who I can trust, who has the smarts for that sort of a thing, and I'll do all the wheeling and dealing and all that sort of thing.
Okay.
And it's kind of.
And that was Pat?
Yeah, that was Pat. So I looked him up.
Okay.
He was home.
Can you take the story from there, Pat? Just the beginnings of the business.
Yeah, I mean, we set it up that first summer in 2004, and it went pretty well from the beginning. It went really well, actually, the first couple of years. And it was going so well, we actually decided to expand. and opened up 2 more in the end, 2 more takeaways. So yeah, it's still, business is still going very well.
Can I? It seems to have been quite successful. Yeah. Can I ask you just to give me marks out of 10 for how good that relationship was as you were setting up the business? 10 being a good relationship and 0 being a not good relationship at all. What would you have pitched it at that time?
8 or 9, I suppose. There's always a couple of
9.
8 or 9.
You know, a few
Maybe
minor
a burger or
arguments,
something like that. But,
yeah.
Okay,
It's good.
so 8 or 9. Okay. And now you've come to a stage where there's conflict between you, and it's been a week since I've met both of you. Have you had a chance to talk about that conflict since then? Or are you just walking around avoiding
That doesn't
each
really
other?
do talking, you know.
Okay, so you've not been communicating about it?
Not this one, no. And I'm sick of trying to raise things as well, and just
Okay.
I was on the back foot, like.
Okay. Can I just get a sense of, in terms of 1 to 10, where would you rank your relationship now?
3.
3?
I
Okay.
would have thought it'd been 1 if you wanted to break up the thing, but anyway, yeah.
Okay, so you
I don't know what our relation. I'm just shocked.
Okay. Tell me more about the shock.
Wow. Just like every plan I might have had is around, this is my life, this business. And as I said to you, when the person that you believe in, or who you take as a given, will be supporting you, is just pulls the carpet from under you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big shock, you know. And I don't even want to think about the future. If this, you know, it's scary thinking about.
Maybe you should have thought about the future.
Can I just hold you? I will give you time to respond. I will in a few moments, Pat. So for you, a big shock,
Yeah.
concerned about the future. Okay.
Well, what do you do? I mean, anyway, yeah, concerned.
So your reason for coming to mediation is, what is it that you want to get from it?
Well, Lenny said it'd be a good chance for things to work out, you know.
Okay.
That it's the best chance that we have. I see no reason why I couldn't keep going, and I'd like to maybe understand why somebody couldn't go from nothing to 100% out, gone.
Okay.
You know, and it doesn't make sense to me. It's too fast. Lenny said there'd be an opportunity, or that somehow you would make him tell me why
Okay.
he's done that.
Okay, and this might be the opportunity to ask Pat what's been going on for Pat. Just to say, I did hear you mention some issues yourself earlier, okay? And I will come back to you on that, Joe. But while Pat is talking, I would really like you to really, really listen so that you're understanding what it is that's going on for him. And then I will give you that space as well, okay? You might be tempted to come in and say, no, that's wrong, or it's the other way. Mm-hmm. But if you could just hold until Pat is finished, and I'll give you time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so Pat, Joe has just said that he really has come hoping that this will give him an opportunity to hear what's been going on for you. So would you like to tell him what is it that brought you to go to the solicitor in the obviously the end of some frustrating time, but if you could tell it in a way that Pat will understand, that Joe will understand it.
Well, I'll tell it like it is.
Okay.
I mean, the thing with taking over the cafe was the final straw. You know, I'm working 7 days a week, 6 days a week if I'm lucky, doing long, big hours, doing all the office work, all the paperwork, all the wages, accounts, making sure everything's up to scratch for health and safety, and it's just never ending. It's, I'm waking up at night, stressed. I've been to see my doctor. It's just a really hard slog, and there's minimal help or even recognition from Joe of that.
Okay.
He's just swanning around the place and cutting deals, or it's like networking, and he's just out boozing with buddies, really. And it makes me like the bad cop. And I just can't. Like, it's meant to be a partnership, but I'm doing all the work. I cannot take it anymore. And then to hear about this taking over the place in Tralee, I mean, you know, I'd already had a deal set up somewhere in Tralee, and it fell through because of, I don't know what, something he did or said, I don't know. And then this one I don't even hear about until I hear it from the wife of the guy, through my wife. I mean, it was just embarrassing. The business is going fine, but I can't deal with him anymore, and I can't keep doing all this work.
Okay, I'm hearing from you that this has resulted in a lot of stress for you and a lot of frustration. You're saying that you spend a lot of time going from one business to another, doing the accounts, doing all of dealing with the staff, making sure everything's working from the book point of view. And I'm hearing that this was the last straw, what you heard about Joe doing the deal, and this is what you'd referred to earlier as well, and that the impact it's having on you is in terms of stress, having to go to the doctor, being worried, being frustrated. I'm just wondering, Joe, if you could just tell me what you're hearing. At this stage, I don't want you to come and give your point of view. I'd like you to just tell me what it is you're hearing that Pat is conveying to you, because you had asked for him to speak so you could understand. So what are the kind of things you've heard and understood from him?
Well, there's a few things that kind of worry me. Genuinely, that you're waking up at night. And what I can't, am I allowed to say I can't understand why you wouldn't tell me that? Or do you want me to just say what I heard? Or
just say what you heard, and then I can ask you what your response to it is.
Like, I heard that he's waking up at night with the stress. Money worries seems to just view me as orbiting around the fast food cafes and like not contributing in any way. That's a bit hurtful. But on to about Pat himself, it's an awful lot of stress. He's taking too much on. He needs some relief from that. That's what I heard.
Okay, that he's needing relief and he's taking a lot on.
Yeah, but what I think is he needs to ask for it. But yeah, that's what I hear.
Okay, but you had no idea. You're saying, I wish he told me this.
No, I've told you about this. He just bottles it all up when I come, I'm normally good at goading it out of him, and that's kind of how we've operated. Is that I kind of push and shove a bit, and he'd blast. But at least I know how he felt about something.
Okay.
And maybe we just haven't been communicating as good in the last while, and more built up. I don't know if that would be a fair thing to say, but I think it wouldn't be far off.
What's it like for you to hear this?
I felt a bit, I suppose a bit, it felt a bit wrong that he's waking up at night with the stress of this. I felt there's something that shouldn't be happening.
Okay.
It's sad that the Pat who eagerly entered our business, it is now eating him up. So yeah, that isn't right either, you know. But I'd have to say with that he also needs to help himself. And he says I'm not communicating, but if anything, at least I put things out there. I might do it in a brash way a lot of the time.
Okay, and you can hold that for the kind of recommendations time. Joe, Pat, can I just check with you? Do you have a sense that Joe has understood what's been the impact on you?
Yeah, mainly, yeah. I'm not sure he's really kind of grasping the fact that I'm doing all the work, but apart from that,
okay. And we'll come to that in a moment, but the division, okay, and who does what kind of work. You mentioned that hearing this was that I will come back to you in a moment because I know you have things to say. I just want to keep the discussion going with Pat so that you can get a better idea of how things have been for him, Joe. Pat, you were saying that this was the last straw. That's, I think, the words you used.
Yeah.
Were there other instances that were building up before that, just so that Joe has what he wishes for, which is a fuller understanding?
Yeah, I mean,
You mentioned other deals, or
there was. I mean, there was a deal with a bread supplier, and it was, at the stage where really all that happened was just sign on the dotted line and get it done. But I was away on holidays for once, the first time in years, for a week, and came back and found out that the deal fell through. I don't know what the hell happened.
Okay.
And there was another deal for another place in Tralee when we were trying to expand there before. Same thing happened again. And I have and any time I bring it up, he just kind of talk around it or change the subject. Sure, I didn't know what was going on. So that, I was starting to question him, trusting him at that stage, seriously.
So the lack of trust has been going, or the diminishment, I should say, of trust has been continuing.
Yeah,
for a period.
In the last year or so, yeah.
Okay. I'm getting the sense from Pat that was the start. That was the trigger. Was that the trigger? That first deal about the bread.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few other things as well.
Okay. Whereas he didn't leave. You didn't want to dissolve then.
No, I mean, it wasn't. It wasn't the end of the world.
Okay. But as time went on, it became.
It's yeah.
Okay.
Didn't help either.
All right. I'm going to come back to this in a moment, but I'd just like to give Joe some space now, if that's okay with you, Pat, is it?
Yeah.
I just want a little bit of time. You mentioned some issues you had as well. And then we'll come back to this.
I still want to explain why I was not being completely forthcoming about the deal in Tralee with Tom O'Connor.
Okay.
The reason for that is that it has been unproductive or not productive, the opposite of productive, when I would suggest one of these deals to Pat. He's a no on these sort of things. And I think particularly when last year's deal in Tralee fell through, he just doesn't want to know about any of my plans at all. And I was afraid that I brought 3 or 4 things to him that hadn't worked, so I wanted to make sure that one of them was going to work before I brought it to him, and he just called me some kind of buffoon again,
Okay.
And that was why I was doing it. So can he not realise that he created a situation where I was forced into a corner to try and produce something good, and as I tried to do that, it slipped out and I got back to him, and then it looks like I'm going behind his back. Because the last thing I want to do was go behind the back. What's that going to do for me?
So you're saying that you needed to do this other deal quietly because you didn't want to appear like what you called a buffoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whatever, stupid,
Okay.
just not get it right. I'm sick of not getting things right now.
What are you hearing Joe saying, Pat, just about this deal now?
Well, he's saying he wanted to have it finished off before coming and telling me about it, but is that how? I don't see that as how a partnership should run, really. And I mean, did he not tell Tom O'Connor not to tell his wife?
Okay.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from, but it's still, I'm still not happy about it.
Okay, what other types of what did you think it meant? What were you questioning yourself when you heard this?
Well, I mean, a million things. Is he going to try and buy me out, or does he think I'm going to pack it in because?
Where would we go and buying you out? I'd have to do all this.
Well, how am I supposed to know? I hear that somebody's trying to take over a place. Sure.
So what you understood by that would be that perhaps he was trying to buy you out.
Well, yeah. I mean, I had no idea
what was going on,
but I didn't. I almost didn't want to know.
I'm just wondering.
You didn't want to know.
Well, I didn't want to know what you were scheming. Really, I just wanted to get out of this partnership after hearing that. I didn't want to know why you were doing it.
Okay, and for you, what were you questioning yourself, Joe, when Pat went to the solicitor?
What's not the question? He wants to get out. He wants to end what we have, a successful business, without talking to me.
Okay.
What's not the question there?
Okay. The issues that you brought up earlier, which I asked you to hold for the moment, Joe, what is it that's going on for you within the partnership that's not working out?
I don't think it's good that Pat thinks or knows that he's doing all of the work. How come I'm busy all week if I'm doing no work?
Okay.
Is the work that I do in there just, I mean, is it like you're just having me there for the crack? Or, I mean, I do...
What are you doing? What are you busy doing all week?
Do you think that all of the deals that you that makes the business as successful that it is came from nowhere? I understand that you do the maintenance of them and the paperwork of them, but the creation of the networks that we have with
pub.
all the various different
in the pub, is it?
Yeah, we live in Ireland. That's where stuff happens. All right, otherwise I go to breakfast meetings and I'm not good at them, but. That's where deals are made. If you want to start going to the pub, well, no, that doesn't really work either. They do happen there. What's wrong with that?
Okay.
It's still in the name of the business.
So for you have
and it's what you signed up to the first day. Was that I would? You're just arguing now about the means by which I get exactly what you asked me to do.
Was this the expectation from the beginning? Was this the agreement between
kind of
both
fell
of you?
into it, I suppose, in a way.
Okay.
You know, you probably there was no. Well, we have a sort of a partnership agreement or something,
okay.
But it was all just what we said to each other. And in fairness, Pat probably would not have said at the start, "You go out and go to the pub for business deals." But it's just sort of the way things panned out.
That's what's worked. Okay.
Yeah.
It's worked out for him.
For him, okay.
Can
I just check?
Do you think
at
I
the
enjoy
beginning,
myself when I'm out there? You can't say a wrong word.
You seem to have a pretty good time most of the time, from what I hear. Anyway.
Can I just hold you there? At the beginning, did that work for you both? The way it was operating.
Did for me.
Did it work for you, Pat? Then.
Yeah, I mean, we needed to. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, yeah.
Okay,
it's different now.
There's different now. There's something I want to clarify from my mind. There are two things for you. One is the unequal balance of the work responsibility, and the other is the deals, the uncertainty. What's going on about these deals? Why isn't he telling me? Or what was he doing with those other two deals? Which of these is the most important issue for you? Is it the unbalance in the work, or is it the making of the deals, or the deals that didn't work?
I think the balance of the work is probably more important. I still want to know what happened to those other deals, though.
Okay, can I talk with you, Joe? The deals. I have heard Pat say that he tried to ask you about them, and that the answers he was receiving from you weren't in any way satisfying him, or as to what could be the reasons that you would have let the deals go. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Tell me about the deals. What was happening? Where were the deals at when Pat went on holidays? At what stage were they?
Oh, I think he more wanted to talk about the balance of the work, really, you know. And I can definitely.
No, I want to hear about the deals. What happened to deals?
We'll do the balance.
These things happen, you know.
Okay.
Deals fail. These things happen.
Okay. When you say these things happen, what kind of things happen?
Just they fall through, you know. That's the way it goes. And you know, you're the person who's talking about partnership. We should always communicate everything like that. You were away on holidays, and they changed a little bit of the deal and the paperwork, and I didn't want to make a decision. You know, I didn't want to be forced into things. I didn't think that was right, you know. So I just said no.
Okay.
It's better, because normally when we'd have a deal like that, they'd come up with a change of things and ask him, email it over to Pat, he'd have a look at it, and we'd work it, and that's always worked very well.
Okay.
You know.
So normally it would be at that stage, you'd email it to Pat, and he'd say that's okay, and you'd go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. And at this stage, what happened that was different?
Just he wasn't there, you know.
Okay.
I didn't want to go ahead with it then.
Okay. What would have stopped you going ahead with it?
Just didn't want to.
Okay. And what is it you were concerned about? If you'd gone ahead, what were you concerned might have happened?
That was that it wasn't right, that sort of way.
You'd have been worried that the deal wasn't right.
Yeah, that
Okay.
I got into the wrong thing.
And what might have let you know that you would have got into the wrong thing?
Pat.
Okay, but Pat would have normally be the person, but he's not there. Okay.
Yeah, but he'd rubber, I'd get things with the negotiations to where they're supposed to be, and then the paperwork man,
Okay. He was the paperwork man.
That was it.
And for you?
That wasn't what I did,
Okay. Was there a concern about signing something that you weren't too sure of?
There was.
Okay, what was your concern?
Just kind of, the way you'd be like, it was a legal document.
So you were a little bit worried?
Well, yeah, you know what you're signing with those things.
Okay.
All the time. As in, I'm always fine. Once I have someone I trust, like Pat, say that's
Okay.
fine. They'd sign it. It's
Okay.
grand.
So you would have had an opportunity to read it before you signed it?
Yeah, they were kind of putting a bit of pressure on to read it fast and things like that. So.
Okay. And what's it like for you if someone's putting pressure on you?
I'd go back from something like that,
Okay.
There's enough time in life not to be having to read this thing right now and fix it right now. He's away for a week. Can we do it next week? They had some other buyer in by the end of the week.
Okay.
That's the way it goes. Sometimes business deals fail, and that's that.
Okay. It does happen.
Yeah.
What were you wooing? You said just whoa.
Yeah,
What
just
was it
whoa,
you
like
wanted to
hold
push
back.
back?
Them, the people who don't make me go signing things. It was never my thing,
Okay. What was it about it that wasn't your thing?
Just not my thing,
Joe, I'm getting a sense that this is difficult for you.
Yeah, I think we should just talk about the balance of the work.
Okay, we will move to that in a moment. Can I just ask a question? Can I ask you a question in a roundabout way? If this isn't discussed and if there isn't understanding about it, what might be the outcome?
That the business ends.
That the business would end? Yeah. And what would that be like for you if the business ended?
That'd be shit.
In what
That'd
way?
be really shit. Look, I'm 41. Where am I going to write a CV? I write a CV that I drove lawnmowers and then I ran a business, but I
Okay.
didn't do the books.
So you're really concerned.
So how employable am I?
Okay. You're really concerned about the future.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you did say what it is that's going on for you, what might be the outcome?
The outcome is that if Pat says it, then Pat has too much on me then. I just, look, I don't want to talk about it, all right?
You'd be worried that Pat would have too much on you. Okay. Can I just leave it for 1 second? May I just move to ask Pat a question? Pat, coming to mediation, what was it that made you decide? You could have just gone, dissolved the partnership, got the papers drawn up by the solicitor, deal done, finished, over. What was it that actually brought you into mediation?
Well, I mean, the solicitor did, he said it could work, and I do respect his opinion, so that was part of it, but, I suppose I thought I'd, owe Joe giving it a go anyway.
Okay. When you said you owe Joe...
I'm not one to make rash decisions anyway, so I thought, look, see what happens, and if it doesn't work, then I can just dissolve it then.
Okay.
Or pull out or whatever, do whatever, but I suppose I'd just, give it a chance maybe for everyone's sake.
Okay. And you mentioned that you owe Joe.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you owe Joe? for?
Well, I mean, we do have a long kind of history, and he has, like I was saying, at school, you know, he's looked out for me and things like that. I suppose that would be a big one, yeah.
Okay, so that sense of loyalty.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he's, you know, as much as I want to strangle him sometimes, it's, you know, he has his uses.
Okay, all right. You've heard Joe, and in the last few minutes, looks like something he would like to say, but he has huge concerns about saying it. What could you offer him?
I mean, you know, I need to know, you know, I'd rather know if we're in a partnership. I need to know what's going on. Like, I don't care, really. As long as I know what it is, then I can, you know, make my own decision based on that. But to get the trust back, I need to get something from him.
Okay, so you need to understand something of what's happening. Okay.
It still doesn't make any sense to me why he's kind of going, like, I still don't know really why they fell through.
Okay. Okay, can I come back to you, Joe? I can see you're really, really struggling with this. What would you need from Pat that might make it easier?
What you were saying when we met without Pat.
Okay.
That I could be sure that whatever I say just stays here. That's it.
You absolutely need complete confidentiality.
Yeah, and I know, I see now, it probably needs to be said, but I just can't without being sure.
What are you worried that Pat might do with the information?
Just tell everyone.
Tell everyone.
Sure, I have to keep it confidential as well, don't I?
Okay.
So.
What can you assure Pat of, or Joe of?
I mean, I've signed the agreement to mediate about keeping it confidential.
There's a difference between that and actually not telling anybody.
Well,
we can still dissolve the partnership if it needs be, but...
Well, I mean, you have my word. Like, it's as much as that's worth anymore. I don't know, but
no, it's always been worth something.
Okay.
What was the last question you asked?
What would you need from Pat that would...
No, while you were talking about the deals.
What was it that would have stopped you? Was it signing the agreement?
Yeah.
You were saying
that's the one.
That you wanted to back
away.
You know,
there's an ad on telly at the moment, and there's a fella, he's wearing overalls, and he cleans his hands, he's kind of liquid. And he at the start of the ad, he wasn't able to communicate with his brother. And then at the end of the ad, he was. Through like emails and things like that. He reminds me of me.
Okay. I don't know the ad, Joe, but what is it about him that reminds you?
It's an ad for adults who have trouble reading and writing.
Okay.
It's not like I can't read or write, but I couldn't trust myself with that document because I did foundation English for the junior cert, you know. That's why.
Okay. Okay, Joe, that must have been taken a lot of courage and a lot of trust to be able to say that with Pat here.
Well, she just said that in the first place.
Okay. Is this something you have not realised before?
No. I mean, I wonder why, you know, he'd always ring me, he'd never text or anything. If I texted him, he'd always ring back, and I'd give out to him for spending the money on the phone rather than just texting off the internet or whatever. So, I mean, you know, I know he finished school early, but sure, I wasn't really in any of his classes. I didn't know. I didn't know, I didn't know things were kind of that level. I just wish he'd said it. I mean, it would have been no big deal.
If Joe had said this to you,
well, I would have
3-4 years
just
ago.
read the thing myself and, signed it or whatever, or put it off for a week till I came back, but sure, I hadn't a clue. And then he wasn't telling me, and then I thought it was something else. I thought he was too hungover, or missed a meeting, or said the wrong thing or something. I hadn't a clue. Sure.
So have you been making many assumptions about Joe in the last while that may not actually be valid?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. What does it mean for you now to hear what Joe has just told you?
Well, I mean, it's it makes a bit more sense. Things generally make a bit more sense as to why he kind of would act strange around certain things. I mean, there's other things as well I didn't talk about, but
Okay, so what kind of things?
it would make me question him and how could I trust him, or why he wasn't trusting me, or why he was acting funny and things like that, whereas now I know, or why he wasn't responding. I might think he wasn't responding because he was out, gallivanting, but it was probably that he didn't want to, ring because he knew it was late at night or whatever, and I was just kind of expecting him, an email back or whatever rather than a phone call. So, I mean, it does make sense. Yeah.
Okay. And for you, Joe, what must it have been like all these years?
Why do you think I always took the driving jobs? Bring someone with me so they can take the notes.
Okay.
I don't even need to wear glasses, and I tend to be missing my glasses. Screen broke on my phone, screen never broke on my phone. Broadband doesn't come to my house, it does come to my house. I just avoid it.
Okay.
And it's always worked. And now I'm in such a place where I'm so scared that it's a bigger deal to not say it than to say it.
So the cost of
It's
losing
the first
the
time I've
partnership.
ever said it, so it's just a bit.
First time you've ever said it to anybody. Okay. What was it like when you were hearing Pat making assumptions as to maybe you've been hungover or you not caring or whatever?
It was better than him knowing.
It was better than him knowing.
Yeah, that was always whatever,
Okay.
It's a bit annoying, but sure, look. But no, I was kind of glad that he didn't flip out there.
Okay. Can I just ask you too, where are we now in terms of the mediation? There are obviously lots of things still to discuss, but has anything shifted for you in having heard this, Pat?
Well, I have a much better idea as to why he's been so kind of odd about certain things.
And what
I suppose, it hasn't really done anything, in a selfish way. I don't see how this is going to change. If anything, I see this as me now doing more work.
Okay.
But
I'm willing to do something about this now. I'm done avoiding it. And I really want this business to keep going with me in it, and I'm open to whatever it needs. I called the number and I'm going to meet someone about it. It's a start. And I mean, there's a load of things that I can do. I mean, go back to what your actual problem was. You're talking about the division of labour. I mean, a lot of the work, there's only so much work actually needs the reading of the final document in a deal. I can still do that work that needs to be done. You don't need to be able to have an A in English to flip burgers. I can do the night shifts. I can do things like that.
Joe went on to make suggestions to Pat with regard to they not buying another premises at this stage, and instead taking the time to consolidate the successful business that they already have. Joe also made proposals about apportioning the workload more evenly between himself and Pat, and he made suggestions as to how he would support Pat in managing the staff.
Obviously I've been thinking about solutions more than you have, because I really want this to work.
How does all that sound to you, Pat?
Their ideas, it'd help, I think.
Is there room for negotiation and for even looking at them, evaluating them?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Like it's, like I find it hard to trust the managers in the three places, but I think it's justified at times, and Joe knows that. We're still learning the different ways, but there are basic mistakes being made, so maybe we need somebody to keep an eye on the managers. I don't know.
Okay. Can I just before going into that, can I just ask you, both of you had lost a certain amount of trust in each other, okay? At the beginning of the session, this is what you would have conveyed. Where are you now in terms of trust of Joe, Pat? Has there been a shift for you?
Yeah, it's going to take time. We're going to have to see how it goes.
Okay. And for you?
I know the one thing I have noticed is that I obviously have a load of trust for Pat still, if I was able to say that.
And when you were so shocked as well.
Yeah, well, I knew that as well,
yeah.
So, no, I'm still a bit shook, but there's no point in me dwelling on that.
Okay.
Anything I can grab onto that allows me back to where we were, I'll grab a hold of it. I'm still feeling a bit of resistance, and I don't want it to be there, and I don't know how to get rid of it. And I'm willing to get rid of it over again.
Pat, the bit of resistance Joe's feeling, is that something that is within you?
A little, yeah, but it's a lot less now than.
What are you concerned
an hour
about?
ago. I just want to see it, I want to see it working before I'm very cautious. I'm not going to say, everything's cured, it's just.
In fairness, that's not a personality change.
Okay.
You're always cautious, and that's fair enough.
Can I just ask you again to rank the resistance? At the beginning, what would you say it was?
10.
And now?
2.
2, okay. And if you were to put yourself to the place whereby you both had changed the kind of the balance of responsibilities, and you were both happy with that change and happy with how the business was going, where would your resistance level be?
Probably 0.
0, okay. So it's on its way. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to see it happen first.
All right. Can I suggest this has been a particularly tough hour for both of you. Can I suggest that at this stage we take a break for tea and coffee, and then we come back and sit down and look at the issues one by one, and you talk about what's important to you with each of those issues and what kind of recommendations for change you'll make?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
So having reached the underlying interests of both parties, where Pat described his stress and his worries, and where Joe talked about his literacy difficulties as being the reason for not closing the business deals, both Pat and Joe will be able to negotiate with each other around the issues that presented in this conflict. They will then sign a mediated agreement, and Joe's literacy difficulties will be taken into account to ensure that he completely understands what he is signing. It is only by understanding the deeper concerns and interests that an effective and sustainable mediated agreement can be reached.